How many people are gonna blame me for this light on my previous timing belt video? I cannot wait to see the comments. You did it wrong, that's why it came up with this, and it's all your fault, and blah blah, and I know everything. Looking forward to the comments. Right, so I've just taken it for a quick drive, and it feels like there's no boost, it feels like there's no power. It has gone into limp mode, and it just doesn't feel very powerful. Now there's no smoke, there's no rattling, there's no nothing like that. So let's quickly plug the scan tool in and see what the error code is. Right, and there we go, a P0299 under boost. Very common problem with these. I've got an idea what it might be already now. That's maybe one of the worst things you'll ever do, is kind of get used to something and get ideas, because it can lead you completely down the wrong road. Let me pull up some live data and we'll go from there, because this could be a few issues. This could be a fueling issue, could be a leaking issue like a vacuum leak, could be a turbo issue, even though, to be fair, the turbo sounds good. I'm not worried about the turbo itself because it definitely hasn't gone. I would be able to hear if it has. It could be diverter valve, boost control valve, kind of they're the same thing, just different names. It could be a few things, but I've got an idea what I think it might be. Fuel pressure, and let's see what the fuel pressure is. Fuel pressure at the bottom, actual and specified. We don't need the top one, so just shut my foot down. And 640 specified. Yeah, I mean, look, they're more or less perfect. Right, so I'm not worried about fuel pressure, but look at the boost pressure. So the actual boost pressure is 979 and the specified is 1040. I put my foot down and yeah, we're way off. Now let me just take this for a drive and actually see. Oh, it's gone up a little bit there, and let me see how it is on a drive, because you can't really tell just by putting your foot down. What I've done is I've graphed it. Now as you can see, the two first little humps is when I revved it the first time, and you can really see the difference in the graph. So I'm going to put my foot down again. As you can see, the top one shoots up, but the bottom one actually goes down. So I'm going to take this for a bit of a drive and we'll see what the graph looks like afterwards. Right, so there we go. Look at this top graph. It was trying to boost. This bottom graph just essentially didn't move. If anything, every time I was on boost, if I just put my foot down now, it actually drops. Yeah, see that? It drops a little bit where it should just go straight up. So what I'm thinking it's the diverter valve, the boost control valve. That's what I'm thinking at the minute. I'm going to quickly get this put on a lift and double check it before I go in to start checking other things. I don't hear any boost leaks. Now again, you can't really go off that, but you know, I've done enough of these to kind of maybe know to go straight for that. Now if it's not that, we will check other things, but there's no point me going down other routes and taking a lot longer where I know there's a common issue with these and we can kind of go to it straight away. So that's what I'm going to do now, and once I get on the lift, and we'll see if I'm right, or is there something else? Sorted! Right, all the boost solenoids and everything all look okay, but look what I've just spotted here. This little bolt has come out. Now, it looks like this has maybe been touched before. I can't see that just coming out on its own. So I'm going to plug back in, and we're going to see if we can see what's going on with the live date with the EGR valve. And then I'm going to also look at the DPF, because we could have issues with the DPF getting blocked, because if this isn't working properly, or even if the turbo isn't working properly. So I'm going to check them on the live data. Look what's just happened. So plugged it back in and we are getting an EGR valve problem, circuit issue. Right, I've got some EGR valve exhaust PIDs up, and I've also put the DPF sensor pressure up as well. Now the car is starting, it's ticking over, and the weird thing is I cannot see, I'll just rev it up, I cannot see any pressure coming from the DPF whatsoever, but I am seeing the EGR valve moving and the duty cycles moving. So that tells me that the wiring is okay for the EGR valve. Now, I remember a long time ago, I had an issue with the 2-litre Audi A4, and the EGR valve, it was kind of doing the same thing. No power. we're just getting an EGR. No, we wasn't getting an EGR valve fault. There was just no power. There was no faults, and the EGR valve, as you can see from the data PID, is physically working. But what had happened is, and I'm going to check this one, the butterfly on the end of the valve that was snapped. So the rod was moving like this in the EGR valve, and all the numbers were working, but the actual valve wasn't moving. So the EGR valve was essentially stuck. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to check the DPF pressure sensor with the Hobby Tools tool, and then we're going to maybe strip off the exhaust valve, the EGR valve, sorry, and see what's going on, because this at the minute is a bit weird. I can't see anything wrong with the turbo system as regards valves or anything like that. We know it's not boosting, but yeah, and we've now got an EGR valve fault, so that's interesting. We're gonna check that out. Right, I didn't explain it very well in the video, but what we did, we actually checked the boost control valve, and it was all absolutely perfect. The wiring going to it, absolutely perfect. The valve itself, absolutely perfect. Now, the customer just wanted me to do some quick, simple checks because he didn't want to spend a fortune on it. And we then went to other systems because we saw an issue with the EGR valve. We then went to check that to see what the issue was. So at the minute, what we know is all the turbo system, well, the turbo is okay, the actual physical turbo. The boost control valve is okay, and the wiring is okay. Now, that still doesn't mean we don't have an issue with the wastegate or the actual vacuum part of the turbo, but we know the other bits are okay. Right, the faults have been cleared and it's all good. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to, we've now kind of got power back. I'm going to graph the EGR. You just see I put my foot down there, and I'm going to see what the story is with the EGR valve. See if we get, well, see exactly what we get. So I'm going to take this for a drive now and see what happens before the light comes back on, because it will come back on, I know it will. But I just do it with the numbers at first, and I put my foot down. Oh, and it does struggle, I think, to get up to where it should be. Constant speed, and as you can see, once I keep a constant speed, it is quite similar to what it should be. So we know the EGR valve is actually physically working, but it still could be that problem I was telling you about, that bolt being loose. Who else has been there before? We've still got absolutely nothing from the DPF, so I don't know if someone's deleted this. I just don't know. There's been a lot of messing with this car, and I'm not 100% sure what's going on. But when I put my foot down hard, it takes a long time for it to react, for it to kind of catch up. But when I do slow down to a constant speed, it does kind of get back. So yeah, it's a bit unusual to say the least. But now, all of a sudden now, it's actually behaving itself. It's not going into limp mode, and I've been doing a few miles in it now. So what the hell is going on with this thing? You can see we're a bit off there now. We're a bit off on the EGR valve. This could either be blocked or slightly, well, blocked, or like I said, it could be the butterfly could be broke, but I don't know. This is going to be unusual, this one, and I can only do a few more things to it before the customer's going to pull the plug on it, because the few things that I can do are quite easily to do. After that, it starts becoming very expensive, and I don't know what he's going to do. I'm now pulled over, and we're just going to boot this and see if we can get it to go into limp mode, and exactly what happens. Just if I graph it, you'll see the graph a lot easier. Oh. Go, go, go! It's my Moy Walker impression. Boom. See, the EGR valve is, well, it's not actually reacting now. Right, hold on. Which is which? which is the top one, which is the bottom one, because that didn't seem to be reacting there. Oh, what happened there? I felt the car kind of stumble a bit there. Right, I put it onto value so we can see the numbers. It might be a bit easier in this particular case. Floor it. That's floored it, and the EGR valve was halfway off to what it should have been. Let me get the turbo pressure sensor back up. This is really weird because I'll rev it again and we're nowhere near spec. Well, give it a second. We're still a little bit off spec. It hasn't changed from what it was before. EGR valve is more or less the same. That's just me revving it at 2.5 grand at tick over, essentially, or at stationary position. So let me put it into gear and let me see what happens now. I'm still going to check the DPF because, again, I don't know why we're not getting a reading. Has it been deleted? I just don't know. I'm still going to check the EGR valve, and I'm going to do a smoke test on it. But I just want to put my foot down now when we've got all that data on. Now, foot is planted. Turbo is going up, but nowhere near where it should be, and it feels dead. This doesn't feel fast whatsoever. EGR valve is half what it should be, and the turbo is essentially half what it should be, but it's not going into limp mode. So what's all that about? Right, the plot thickens. It's not going into limp mode, but yet it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing, and it's a lot faster than what it was. And now it's just bleeping at me for the water thing now. Right, okay. The plot thickens. Let me get this back to the shed. There is lots wrong with this car. Not going fast, I'm just on normal road, and look what happens. Oh, of course, you're not doing it now. The traction control light was flashing like crazy, and I was only doing like 20-30 mile an hour, not even accelerating fast. And of course, now I've turned the camera back on, it won't do it. Let's see if we can get it to do it. I don't have to accelerate hard, I just gotta accelerate it a bit hard there, and again, no. Typical. Haha, there we go, look. See? There we go. Look at that. Flashing like crazy. See, I wasn't lying, and I'm not even going fast. My foot was only like 20% on the throttle, and this thing is still down on power anyway, so it couldn't spin the wheels even if I wanted it to. See if we'll do it again. Nope. So yeah, there's lots and lots of problems with this. I think this was an auction car. I'm kind of seeing why. This car is just like the gift that gives on giving. Look at this, more error codes, different problems. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a nightmare, because the more I drive it, the more error codes that are coming up, and the more issues we're having. Don't you just love Volkswagen? Right, it's not as bad as I was kind of hoping for, but it's still bad. This, get out of the sun so we can actually see. This isn't closing properly. Again, no, I can't bloody do it on camera. Typical. That, you can see all the light behind it. So this needs to be cleaned, because all the crap that's on it, that's fair enough. That part of the EGR valve doesn't look too bad, but when you look at it here, oh, let me see, that's all caked. You can see half of it's caked up. Let me get the torch on it. Right, you can see it there, look. So it is struggling to move. So that's what's stopping the EGR valve from moving. So that's okay. But the other thing is the intake is completely and utterly caked. See if we can get you in there. Look at that. Look how bad that is. That's, might not look it, but that's half of the intake is actually caked. So yeah, it's going to need a lot of work, and I don't know if he's going to want me to do it all, so I'm going to have to ring him. Right, what we're going to do is we're going to activate this just to see if it's moving with my cleaner. So hold that. It's not actually moving at all, and yet it should be. Interesting. Not moving at all. I just checked the wiring on the car, and the plug, this plug was wired wrong, so I've got the extra leads. So we'll press and hold this. Look at that. It's now working, but just as I thought, completely and utterly jammed. You can hear it trying, but it's completely and utterly jammed. So even though it doesn't look particularly bad in there, now it does look bad there, but it's completely and utterly jammed. And this is a great tool, but the problem is when you hear that clicking, you kind of assume it's working. That's why it's always nice to actually see. So we got to now clean this, and we'll hopefully get some sort of power back to the car. Right, not completely clean yet, but I'm just curious. So press and hold the button. Oh, look at that, people. Look at that EGR valve working. Yippee. There we go. Music to my ears. This machine will also check it for us. It's going through its cleaning cycle / checking cycle. And nice. Lovely, lovely, jubbly. We're still going to have lots of issues with the car, but yeah, this is all the customer wanted me to do, just to get the EGR valve working, get it all back together, and basically do nothing more. So I can only do what I'm paid to do, and I know people are going to love that in the comments, but it is what it is. If you want to work for free out there, people, be my guest. We know the issue, we fixed the issue, there's a few more issues, but he doesn't have the money, so it is what it is. Right, no more light going through that now. Boom, sorted. Right, let's try it. Foot planted. Power! Oh, that's a million times better. Boom! Boom, boom, boom! Sorted! Right, so there we go. It's a lot better. There's still other issues with this car, so I still think it's going to kind of go into some sort of limp mode eventually, but at the minute it is definitely a million times better compared to what it was. It's revving up, it's definitely more power. I still don't think, to be honest, it's full power in it, but it's definitely better. It was maybe say 40%, it's now maybe say 80%, so there's still 20% there to find, but again, it doesn't want me to do any more, so I can't. There's, like I said, other issues with, as well as we found out, there's other issues. And yeah, so that's it. And obviously the intake is absolutely caked, so that's obviously stopping a lot of the power. I think most of the power issue is now really because of the intake, to be honest. That intake is really, really bad. So it is what it is. I've done as much as I can do. I've got it better. Customer is happy, and it is what it is. So look, I hope it helps. Please like, share, comment and subscribe. Don't forget, links up here, links down below, but most importantly, don't forget, get your hands dirty. See you for the next one. Sorted. Right, so a couple of things I did off camera just to make it quick, so I could actually kind of do it for the customer rather than trying to record it and just, you know, get a few more things done. I did a full smoke test. Absolutely perfect, no leaks, no nothing everywhere. I also tested the vacuum part of the turbo, absolutely perfect. Didn't test the wastegate, but so the wastegate is kind of, I think it's okay. I also checked the wiring all to the turbo and everything, absolutely fine, like I said before. So what I think the last part of the power issue is that intake. That intake is absolutely, completely and utterly clogged. Now, he has spent an absolute fortune on this. I found out a bit more information. He hasn't had it for long. The car was always kind of flashing every so often on him. I never drove the car. I just put it on my trailer or my on my new dolly, and I brought it to the shed. So I never saw them lights flashing first, but he told me that they was already there. He's a lot more happy with it now. It's a lot more powerful. It hasn't gone